Hello, everyone. Thank you, Eric, for giving me this opportunity to present on ACT. I'm pretty excited because we're going to be demonstrating a relatively new online service. It was introduced a couple of years ago. I mean, it may seem, if you've used ACT in the past, it may seem very familiar to ACT for Web or even the on-premise version. But this has been completely overhauled, hosted on AWS, and is really a faster, more secure version of ACT than we've ever been able to offer before. So I'm really excited about it. As I told you, Eric, the middle of this month, ACT is going to be offering some new commercial packages that I look forward to quoting you on. That's going to make this offering, especially for web-only users, cheaper than has ever been available. Okay. So for a little bit of background, ACT was founded in 1987 and quite frankly was the inventor of CRM technology. And over that time, we've mostly operated in the on-premise space, but as I said, the last few years, we've upped our game to include a SaaS level service hosted on AWS. Okay, and per Eric's request, because Eric, when we first met, you said this is primarily the platform that you were looking to run on. That's what we'll be demonstrating today. Okay, ACT has always been known for its ease of use, which I think you'll see as we get into the different sections of the program. And today we're going to start with the welcome screen. Okay, so this is the welcome screen when you log in. This is completely customizable, so you can insert your own widgets and so be greeted when you log in with your task list, any open opportunities, pipeline displays, whatever is important for you so that you've got your own customizable welcome screen. Okay. The next big thing, I mean, you guys are in the wealth management space. I'm not sure exactly how, but I mean, I think that's a general characterization. Now we click on contacts because you guys are going to be understanding all of your contacts, you know, and this contact screen is where you define your relationship with them. It's not just, you know, the standard contact information, like how you reach them, where you mail them, and things like that. But you can customize this screen to include any level of information, ID status, whichever, and let's just say this person is a customer. Okay, select the referred by, and we'll just say called in. Okay, favorite allows you to designate these, you know, maybe primary contacts. If you're dealing with a household or you're dealing with a business, you can indicate who is the primary contact in that. And what's useful about that is you can actually set your welcome screen when you first log into the program to display only your favorites. Okay, so that you've got that immediate high level, you know, primary contact display that you can start your day with. AMA score, I'll get into a little bit of that later, but this basically is a high level way of seeing the level to which they have engaged with your marketing. Now you can add additional fields, things like professions, things like past purchase profile, things like risk tolerance, or anything along those lines that can give you an immediate sense of the profile of this particular contact. Now, like many CRMs, you've got the top tombstone. And by the way, what you're seeing here, these are all system fields. So these will be displayed, this will display the information based on your activity, not what you've entered in. So if you've emailed this person, it will display the last time you emailed them. If you recorded a call or a call attempt, it will reflect this. So again, that high level feedback that you're getting instantly, knowing when was the last time you touched this person and how, okay? Including meetings and sends. And you don't have to record this. All you've got to do is record the history of the engagement, which we'll get into, and this will populate here accordingly, okay? So as I said, we've got the tombstone. You can quickly see as you advance to different sections here. Okay, it's just asking if I want to save. Yep. Okay, and now we can advance to different screens, but let's go back to this one. So we've got the top tombstone. These tabs along here, okay, is how we can kind of drill and see the different layers of our information on the contact. The activities is pretty self-evident. This gives us a quick view of all of the scheduled activities that we've got with the person. This opportunities, I'm not sure, Eric, you can correct me if I'm wrong, how much you guys are into pipeline management. I don't recognize a lot of CFPs that are really into pipeline management. Is that a fair statement?
So we will be moving forward. I talked with like our primary business development portfolio manager, and he identified that he wants to like use and abuse the pipeline feature of whatever CRM we end up in.
Excellent. Opportunities to me are a fantastically powerful feature of the program. I just wasn't going to bore you with features on something that you may or may not be interested in, but we'll get into that later. History is key. I've never met a CFP or anyone in wealth management that didn't have some kind of KYC audit obligations where they had to kind of be able to demonstrate, all the different touches they had with a contact. So history here will display instantly all the contacts that you've had with them, any history type, whether it's a call, whether it's an email, even if it was a matter of changing one of the primary fields like this. You see here where I changed the ID status to customer, it would automatically reflect that. So if you advance someone from a prospect to a customer, you'll know precisely when that change was recorded and by whom, both date and time. So you get that timestamp, that audit trail that so many CFPs are keen on. And then, that's just the general system stuff that goes on in the background. Anytime you email, anytime you call, any level of engagement that you've got, you're going to have your audit trail recorded here. And if it's here, you're able to do a KYC report on it. Okay.
I'm sorry, can I just ask a silly question?
Sure.
So for the email or call communication, that will be automatically captured in the either history or maybe activity, I don't know for sure. So they have to be made directly from the app platform, right? So it's not like we email using our Outlook and then it will automatically be captured in this platform. Is that?
So we have an add-on called Act for Mail. It's like $35 a year that allows you to send an email with Act closed or the browser interface closed. Just have it in Act, and it will record the history to the appropriate contact. It also has features where it will monitor your sent items, okay, and attach. So in this case, let's say you replied to someone from your phone. That if it's an IMAP account or an Exchange account, it will automatically populate into the sent items for all your devices and all your email applications. And if it's in Outlook, you'll be able to have that automatically attached to the appropriate contact history.
So then sometimes there could be a lot of communications that may not need to be saved for documentation purposes, for sharing purposes. So does it mean that if it gets captured, we will then need to do our own, like basically kind of purging just to clean it up, to have the relevant information? At the end of the day, you don't want this to be so cluttered and inundated with nonsense communication.
Eric, is it just me? I'm having a difficult time making out what she's saying.
Yeah, I can't really hear her that well.
I'm sorry. I'm trying. Obviously you're audible, but it's difficult to make out the words.
There's a bit of an echo, Joe. Were you asking if we can delete communications that we don't care for, like if it's
That's
just
correct.
like a simple back and forth?
Yeah.
Yes, and in fact, you can not only delete history, but you can also, from an administrative level, control whether or not history can be deleted. Okay, because some people are really like the ability to delete history. Other people's, for the sake of reporting integrity, they want to prevent the recording of history. So that is a preference option that you can lock down or free up as it suits you, because there may just be complete ephemera that has absolutely no reporting or contact implications with a customer that you might want to remove, like going to a ball game or something like that. Joe, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Ken, it's Julian. I just have a quick question on this. So, I think I just heard you say that there is um, an add-on where you can essentially have all your emails stored in here. Is
Yeah.
that something that a lot of people do, or is it something that people don't do? I'm just kind of curious.
Oh, okay. So I'll bore you with a brief bit of product history. About 6 years ago, um, Microsoft was breaking integration with a lot of CRMs, and including Skype and that. So we wrote a program called Act for Outlook that actually improved and fixed a lot of the Outlook integration with Act. Um, it quickly became the all-time best-selling add-on for Act, and we've sold, I think, 7,000 or 8,000 licenses of it. Act for Mail was an offshoot of that, where Act for Outlook worked with the on-premise version of both Act and Outlook. Act for Mail is an API product that works with browser-based versions like what I'm demonstrating today. So to answer your question, it's incredibly popular. And during that year where Microsoft was breaking that integration, people were losing their minds.
Okay, gotcha.
I didn't quite realize how important it was until it was taken away for 3 or 4 months.
Right. So essentially, like if we were so we would have to like where it says the business card here and the address and status and everything, like that would be
Mhm.
things that we would have to fill in ourselves for all of our clients as we slowly start to put them into the CRM system, I assume.
Well, certainly on an ad hoc basis, any new customers, I don't know what you guys are currently using, whether or not you're using Outlook or you've got a spreadsheet. I mean, certainly there are some provisioning shortcuts that we can implement to, bring you up to production readiness faster. I wouldn't want you kind of hanging your head thinking that you've got to manually key in every single contact. I'm sure you've got some kind of soft version of your contact list right now that we can expedite your initial launch with.
Like could it be where it happens to be in Microsoft Outlook right now, like just as a V card?
Oh, certainly. Yeah,
Okay.
we've done a lot of easy migrations from Outlook, and in that fact, what we would probably do is create a database, get you guys to sign off on the customization of it, making sure it's got all the fields that you're looking to capture, and then what we would do is take your PSD file and just migrate it over. There's actually
Right.
some add-ons that make that process pretty straightforward.
And you were saying for the customized fields, like we can customize almost anything we want, right? Like it can just be a random field.
To the nth degree.
Yeah, because
let me just show you
go ahead.
my act here, so you can kind of get a sense of. So this is my act. Okay, so for me, I've got a lot of customer account information that I need to capture here, hosting information I need here. I've got email compliance information. I've got 2 ID statuses, role within the company, so on and so forth, multiple emails. I've even built in Castle compliance here, like all kinds of different things, email status, because we use our own tools to scrub our database. So all of these things, we've designed and we've created, even on the custom tables. This person was telling me about all the support plans they've got in effect, and this is easy to, bring forward. We even have QuickBooks integration, where every single night all the customers' transactional information is downloaded. Act has been around for 35 years. It's got one of the richest add-on markets and one of the most mature development communities. So there's a ton of add-ons.
Right. And Ken, on the left-hand side, I noticed that you have all kinds of additional pieces of,
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what they call, but I look like you have software down there and services.
Yep.
Like, are those things that are customizable too? And what happens when you go into, like, say, any one of those, like service? Does it look like this? And
So
I'm just kind of
these
curious.
are actually custom tables, which I'm happy to get into. I didn't include this as part of it because it's getting, it might be a little bit granular and not related, but let's say that I wanted to look at all of my transactions. Okay, I can click over here and immediately see all of the transactions for the company. I can filter by sales reps. I can filter by transactions type. If I wanted to analyze software purchases, okay, I can click over on that. These things are mostly custom table entries here.
Gotcha.
Okay. We can certainly get into discussing the degree to which that's relevant, but here I can click on and I can immediately see all the kind of software purchases, obviously Act Automation, and here's an existing filter. If I clicked on here, I can say, show me only the ones that are not expired. Okay, I can filter immediately by, say, Act, so on and so forth, and just drill down. And that's one of the beauties. And we actually developed this technology where you can keep spreadsheet type data on customers, and you can view them as you did here. This is the global view, or you can view them contextually under the contact, what transactions only relate to them. So anytime you build a custom table, then this will surface up here on the left side nav bar, so that you can click on it and see the global data.
Understood. Okay, well, thank you. I just thought I'd ask. Thank you very much.
No problem. Trust me, I don't have to be asked twice to show you some of these features. Okay, so let's jump into, we've got the contacts. Now we've covered the histories. The histories are really nice. So, let's just say that, you had to record you just had a particular engagement with a customer. Okay, then what you can do is you can actually just click on here, new history, and this could be an inbound call. So someone has just called you. Obviously, it can't be something that you've cleared on your task list. Someone's just called you. You click on this. You indicate automatically it's going to pre-populate with what it presumes to be the date and the time. You can adjust accordingly. Because it's a history, you can indicate the duration of it, and then you can type in whatever details you want based on the engagement. What's really nice is, let's say Eric got a call, okay, from me. He can record that call and then schedule a follow-up if there was a deliverable associated with this. So we can record the history and then immediately record a follow-up that you'll see will be pre-populated with the contact that was already part of that history. Okay, and then he can put in the details, so on and so forth. It might be a week or so, but that allows him to kind of create an immediate thread. And the point of this is that you want to have that ability to review and immediately show me all the engagements I had with a particular customer, because as I said before, with the KYC audits and that, I know that this is a very, very important concern for a lot of people in your industry, is having that audit trail. So this is where you can do it very, very quickly. Okay, you can also just click on here to engage the same thing. In the Windows application, you can hit Control H. Okay, the unfortunate thing is a lot of shortcuts are taken over by the browser. So some of those hotkeys aren't available in the browser, but you've got access to all of these different things. So you can click here to create an email, history, note, schedule a to-do or a meeting or a call. All you've got one-click access to these. Notes are something that I like being able to show those, but this is really something that you've got to, consider, like, Eric is a baseball fan, or Eric follows the horse races or something like that. Nothing you would ever want to record a report on, okay, but just general ephemera that is useful to have as part of your profile of the contact. And the reason I say that is that if you click on a note, you'll notice here that you've got date and time, but you've got no duration. Okay, and anytime that you don't have a duration, it's really, really difficult to create a report on. And more importantly, you'll notice that there's no type. Okay, whereas before over here, okay, you're indicating what was the type and what was the outcome. Okay, and if I'd received a call, I can select this very, very quickly. And with notes, it really is just, standard ephemera that you would have on the contact. Okay, documents. exactly what you think they are. If you want to have, if you've got a signed contract for from someone, you can add it to here. If you've got any kind of correspondence that you're either sending or receiving from them, here's where you would be able to store it and have access to it at all times. Groups and companies I'm going to get into a little bit more. This is where at the contact level, you can see what groups or subgroups they would be part of. And I'll talk about, you know, dynamic membership versus static membership later. Secondary contacts, some people use this heavily, some people don't. This is where you would record maybe, you know, what's the secretary's name? What is this person's real estate agent? What's this person's lawyer's name? Basically, any kind of sub-contact under this contact that you wouldn't want to record a history to, okay? So you can build in like a little contextual directory that only relates to this contact. And the nice thing is, if for any reason that particular sub-entity becomes someone that you're going to engage with beyond that contact, you can select them and click on promote and make them a full contact. Okay, so and that it could be endless. Okay, it could be even relatives. Okay, so anything that you want to just quickly record for access information, this is useful. Okay, relationships was something that was introduced in 2009. Now, relationships, it's kind of confusing because when we put in all of our information here in ACT, what we're doing is we're defining information as the contact relates to us. Like, who are they? Are they a customer? How do we contact them? Things like that. However, relationship now allows us to define relationships between two contacts. Okay, so if I've got two contacts in here and one is the accountant, okay, and the other one is the customer, I can define that. Okay, so you guys may have, you might be working with a contact or a customer, and you've got their accountant or their lawyer in the database. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to click on relationships and of a particular accountant and see every single customer they have in your database? Okay, I did a presentation to this with a government agency, and they just went crazy for this feature. So I never know how excited people will get about that, but that is kind of a neat feature that I like to demonstrate. Okay, any questions on that?
We have it in our, like, in some of our client spreadsheets, so we're definitely interested.
Excellent. Okay, so the web info tab, okay, allows you to immediately see things like a new, and this is all customizable. So where I find this is particularly useful is if I have, if I'm looking up a contact and I don't have address information, okay, so I will immediately click here, look up their website information, okay, in which case this is loading ours, and I can grab some contact information. If you can get the LinkedIn as well, okay, obviously I haven't configured this very well, okay, but what you can do that I find is the most practical use of this is the Google Maps or Google driving directions, because you can schedule an appointment, but I don't know if you guys do a lot of on-sites, but for me, it's very, very difficult to schedule an appointment and know when to leave the office if you don't know how long of a drive it's going to be. So what I'll do is I'll always check this, and it will give me the distance to that location. Now, this is my location, so I expect the drive to be relatively quick. Okay. So that's what's useful. You can define all of these, pull in social media data, whichever. Okay. Personal, this is just kind of like a sub part of the business card information where you may want to record personal information, what their home address is, their wives, their spouses, you know, home, their birth dates, things like that. The nice thing about birth dates, obviously, you want to be able to trigger sending out notifications, birthday greetings, and things like that. So that's useful information. Okay.
Can I just
Now,
actually, can I just interrupt for a second?
go ahead.
So if you happen to have a husband and wife as a, like, how do you enter that? Like, because each of them are as important as each other in our world. So
Absolutely.
do we put the husband and the wife in the business card section, or do we put it one and then put the other one in the personal info section? It seems a little, I don't want to create two contacts for both for the same family.
Well, I'll leave that. I mean, you guys may develop your own best practices, but I will tell you what a lot of our CFP clients do. They do add in both. Okay, they do add in both, and then they group them as a household under companies.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so for me, I would have my wife in here as well, and I would group it under the Quigley household. And then the nice thing about that is that all history, whether it's with me or with my wife, would be aggregated under that household.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. The next one is really important. It's certainly for your industry. You're going to want to control on a contact by contact level the access. So which one of your users can access which contact? You've got three levels: public, private, and limited access. Limited access doesn't mean, degrees of access. What it means is who can access it. So the public and private is binary. Okay, so public is everyone that has login access. Private is only the record manager of this contact. And limited access allows you to define the users or teams of users that can access a particular contact. And that may be useful for segmentation of your database if there is contacts that some wealth managers on your team don't want to share with others. Okay, so be mindful of that's a really, really useful tool for enforcing segmentation amongst the shared database. Okay, nothing to say here. This is just an additional custom tab that pre-populates with a bunch of user fields that you can change, repurpose however you like. Campaign results. The useful thing about this is you can run any kind of campaigns, and I'll show you how to get into those later. Run any kind of campaigns that really they can be to different segments of the database. They can be on different messages. They can be whatever you like, okay? But here, we'll aggregate all the campaigns that this particular contact was included in, plus how they engaged. So was there a bounce? Was there an unsubscribed? Was there a complaint? Was there a click-through? Okay, and this allows you to immediately see the level of engagement they've had with each and every single campaign. This is a demo database, so I don't obviously have anything to show you, okay, but this is, I find this really useful. I had a customer email me in wanting to know how to find this, and when I showed it to him, it was like the clouds parted. It was just, incredibly revelatory because it was what he'd been looking for all along. Okay.
And
Okay.
can some of these, do we have to have all of these on the bottom here?
You can actually customize the layout to remove a lot of these.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm just thinking that we've never used a CRM before, and so I can imagine that if we bring too much to everybody, they're just going to get lost in what actually needs to be done initially. And I'm just thinking that if we can do it so that it's just very simple history, contacts, relationships, etc., and then slowly start to bring other parts into it as we need, that seems to make more sense. So, okay.
Absolutely, and we've actually heard that complaint about other products where they'll pay more for different products and they come in and they literally get overwhelmed by the amount of options to the point where they lose sight of the core functionality. So ACT, as I said, has been around for 35 years, very, very customizable, and you can really strip it down to the bare bones to increase its simplicity and adoption. Okay.
Gotcha. Great, thank you.
Okay, marketing automation. I'll get into that more of that. Timeline. I'm not a fan of this feature. I'd show you how to remove that. This just gives you a graphical view of all of your history or activities you've got with it. Okay, and with that, I've probably said too much. Okay, one of the most powerful parts of ACT is its lookup capability. So you can click on here, look up, and you can see your previous lookups, look up your favorites, as I promised you. You can look up by contact name, company, first name, last name, blah, 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 ID status, emails, and then click on other, okay? Or you can go down to advanced, search on keywords, or advanced query. Now, advanced query is something that allows you a lot of flexibility. So let's say you've got two types of advanced queries. One is kind of an aggregating query, like show me everyone in Richmond Hill, Markham, Toronto, whichever. That's kind of an aggregating one where you say, look up city name, field, Richmond Hill, city name, field, Markham. And then each one of these at the end would be or, okay? And that would show you, all the records with Markham or all the records, so on and so forth, well, different cities. Now, the more common way of building a query is a narrowing lookup. So the simplest one that you can have is show me all of my customers, okay, based on this, that are in Toronto that have an email address, okay? And that is a narrowing lookup. And what you can do is once you save something like that, come on, misclicking here, come on. Okay, is let's say that I'm going to say ID status contains, and I'm going to say customer, add to list, and now I'm going to say city contains, and I'll just put in Toronto, and then I'll say email, where are we? Email. And what you'll notice is when you're building this, that some of the CRMs I've seen out there really rely on you having a command of Boolean search scripts, all these different operators that, when I first started using CRMs, I would have no command of. But this really provides you a simple, user-friendly way of finding things. So show me everyone in the database with an email that contains something. Contains data, so show me everyone that has data in that. Okay, does not contain, so you can do a lookup, say show me everyone in this database whose email does not contain @keystroke.ca, or does not contain data, shows me all the blanks. And what it does is it shows you only relevant operators, so you're not going to get currency operators or anything like that. But here's a beautiful one, ends with. Okay, so if I wanted to look up everyone in your company, I would say email address that ends with @bullwealth.com. Okay, and so on and so forth. But this I find really, really simple, and people can build advanced queries really, really quickly because it's using, user-friendly language. I'm going to say contains data, and because it's not including any data, it's just the presence of data, this value field isn't required. And boom, I have made my first advanced query. I can preview the results of this, and guess what? It only includes kind of keystroke because this is a demo database. If I remove this, I'm going to get much more robust results. Okay, and it shows me 30, and I can then click here, and then it will give me the prompt to save this. Okay, so I'm going to click on save, and I'm going to call this my demo query. Now, why do I want to save it? Is because I can take this query and plug it into groups that will dynamically populate. Excuse me, I did confess to Eric recently that I'm just recovering from COVID, so I was hoping to not have to explain that, but I'm coughing too much to avoid it. Okay, so here is the results of the lookup, okay? And I've got all of this. I can customize this view if I like. So let's say some of this information isn't what I'm looking for. I can click on here and add or remove whatever columns make sense to me in list view. Okay, obviously it's got Office integration, so I can export this list to Excel, any number of things, but this is a quick view of the list view. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, so let's go over and create a group. So what are groups? Groups are basically a way of creating segmentation within your database. So show, a particular type of customer, a particular type of profession, a particular grade of customer, grade A, B, C, D, E. I don't know if you use that kind of segmentation within your business, but if you did, you'd be able to sort that, and you'd be able to click on any one of these and it would automatically do an advanced lookup for you based on that current snapshot of that time. Okay, so whoever has been added to the database or changed or removed, this will provide the most updated list. And let me show you how that works. So I can click on new, and I can click on demo. Okay, and I can click on add remove. I'll just save here. Okay, and now I can click on add remove contacts, and I can click on edit criteria, and I'm going to click on open, and here's my demo query. Okay, all of these come in, and now I can click on here, and now these contacts dynamically populate within this group each and every single time. So I'm not sure which kind of data or fields that you're going to want to capture in any one of your groups, but now, because I've built this, I can click on this and I can market to them. I can do an email blast. I can do a quick telephone campaign. I can even load this group whenever I want, okay? Because the moment that I've got this, I can create a lookup of this. Okay, so that's how you would use advanced groups. However, there's going to be some things like, let's say you were hosting a lunch and learn, and you wanted to just create a group of everyone that attended and manually populate them. Then you can do that, and that would be not dynamic. It would just be a way of organizing like you would socks in your sock drawer. You just create a group and manually populate people, and that snapshot would never change. Okay.
Gotcha.
Companies, as I said, companies are a way that a lot of people in your industry will define households. And the nice thing about that is, like, let's say you put in the Quigley household and you added these two contacts. The nice thing is that every single history with those two contacts would be aggregated together, okay, including all so you can click on here and immediately see all the contacts that are linked to it. Click on here and immediately see all the activities you've got scheduled with every person in that household or company, okay?
Right.
And same thing with opportunities. We talked briefly. You can see all the different opportunities that you've got defined, notes and history. This is just a really, really convenient way of linking the contact table with a company table. And as I said, it's very common in your industry to repurpose the company table with households. Okay. Now, getting into any questions on that before I get into the calendars and activities?
No, I was just going to say, so the idea is then it becomes like a family household.
Exactly.
So husband and wife. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
And then everything that we do within that within one of them, it automatically then populates into the other one. So we can always just go and take a look at either one and get the information we need.
Exactly. And that's really, really being a useful repurposing of this particular table for CFPs. So much so that it's kind of what we lead with when we're working with your industry, because most of them, you guys you're not a business to business. More often than not, you're a business to contact. Okay, and with that, you want to be able to define how contacts are grouped together. Okay, now
Understood.
the calendar section, I can tell you I have used other CRMs. I've seldom seen a calendar more powerful, okay, more flexible than the one within ACT. So you can access the calendar here at a quick view. You can see daily, okay, you can see work week, you can see weekly, which would obviously include a view of the weekend. You can see monthly, okay. This is obviously a recurring activity that I've got scheduled with Shannon, okay. Getting back to work week, I mean, these are the kind of things you would expect, okay, within Outlook. One thing you would not get within Outlook is when you schedule a to-do, okay, you've got the ability to do two things: set the duration, and then when you clear it, set the outcome, okay? With something like Outlook, as you guys are painfully aware, whenever you clear an item, it's basically saying, stop bugging me. You can't say how that particular activity completed or if it completed at all. It's just, please stop nagging me, okay? And that's all it is. Whereas with this activities, what you can do is you can say, another thing you can't do in Outlook is schedule a timeless activity. You may have 5 or 10 things you need to get done in a particular day, but it doesn't matter when you get them done, okay? And that's especially true of to-dos, okay? So you can set them as timeless, okay? I wouldn't put an alarm on timeless because they will, start nagging you at midnight, but you can set the duration, set all the different things that you have to do in a particular day. And then here, you can set all the different activity types. You can also customize these activity types. So you can create an intake meeting. You can create customer assessment, whatever makes sense to your industry.
So, is this linked to Outlook?
You can create a push so that anything that you create in Act will replicate in Outlook. I do not recommend the two-way sync, okay, just because you tend to get more garbage than expected.
Can you push from Outlook into Act?
With Act for Mail, I believe you can, okay, where you can set an item and say, go to Act.
Yeah, because the issue we have is we have a shared calendar that everyone's able to see what's going on.
Right.
And if we're then using, I just don't want to be using multiple calendars for everything.
I don't recommend it, and that's, I'll be honest with you, 90% of the time that people are coming from Outlook to Act, this is one of the things where they end up having one foot on the train and one foot on the train station. They really can't, they're reluctant to make that final break. They don't mind putting all their contacts in and they don't mind putting their pipeline in, but they seem to really be stuck on transitioning their calendar. So they actually end up having a lot of duplication of effort. I can talk to you about ways where if you've got one way of entering in appointments, having them duplicated in Outlook, but I would gently caution you that that's something that you should counsel your team on, that when you start, enter things into Act. So they will get replicated into, into your Outlook, okay? But don't be putting them in one place or the other, like putting them in Outlook, because there may not be an automation that populates them in Act. And then you could just miss appointments. Now, there are obvious exceptions to that. Pick up milk on the way home, bring my kid to soccer practice, things like that. You want to have that separation of church and state. So you want to be able to keep personal appointments out of Act. And I've seen that done a lot. But probably the biggest transition issue for people coming from Outlook is the calendar.
Right. And just in terms of, I may have missed it at the very beginning. Is this a cloud-based enterprise system that?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so like
we're all here, right?
We would have an app on our iPhone, and that's how we'd be able to get all of our access to all of our contacts at any point in time.
It's either browser based, or there is an app that we build called Handheld Contact that would download all the information to your phone on that app, and it would give you like an on-premise experience on your phone. One of the things that we found is that people that are using mobile devices, they're not always, connected, so they like to have the access to all of their information, whether they're connected to the internet or not. Okay, certainly as we head into cottage season, I like to be able to have all of that. I can't demonstrate it because I don't have an iPad display right now, but I can show you the web page where you can get all of that. Okay, and that's Handheld Contact, and that's probably one of the bigger subscription add-ons that exist today.
Gotcha.
Okay, but you can also access it on a tablet. Okay, you just open up the browser, log into the site, and you're dealing with it directly.
Right.
But whenever
Okay.
you're dealing with a phone form factor, you really like to have a dedicated app for that. So that's what we've built. And it's so popular that ACT themselves sells it on their website.
Right.
Okay.
So it is a home built application for ACT. Like ACT actually built it themselves.
No,
So
we
it
built it.
integrates. Who are you guys?
We're Keystroke.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I didn't know that. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so we're Keystroke. We're the #1 ACT reseller in the world. We
I
sell
see.
about
Okay,
we
gotcha.
sell about twice as much ACT as any other company, and we have a unique relationship with ACT in where we actually develop a lot of their technology. I showed you the custom tables and the spreadsheet functionality. They actually sell our technology. Okay, and I'm going to be demonstrating Linktivity technology as well that they resell, and they resell handheld contacts. So, we've got a development team of around 7 or 8 full-time developers, and we're able to provide enhancements to ACT that they can't, and that's fine. We rely on them to make the program.
Understood. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. So with this, you can also view it from a task list perspective. If you prefer to run from a list perspective, you can filter by dates, you can filter by types, you can filter by priorities, keywords, users, whichever. A lot of people live and breathe in the task list. And that's certainly understandable. And if you guys are coming from that, then that's going to be really important as well. Okay, especially if you're coming from Outlook. A lot of Outlook users are heavy task list users. The other thing I talked to Eric about is that you guys, or he said to me that you guys have certain processes for, let's say, when a new customer is provisioned, or with a particular type of activity that you would have with a customer engagement. And what I suggested is that we can build, if there's the same kind of thing that you do in the same type of circumstances over and over again, then you guys can schedule things like activity series. So what you can do is click on activity series, and let's say key customer communication series. So let's say you've got a new customer that you've just brought in. Okay, what you can do is create an activity series, and all you've got to do is run this one activity series, and all of these activities get scheduled into your calendar based on whatever the chosen anchor date is. So in this case, create a to-do, 0 date, email customer welcome letter, call, 1 day later, 30 minutes, important introduction. Okay, to-do, 3 days later, email follow-up template, questions and input, 15 days later, so on and so forth. All of these different touches that you can schedule in one step, okay, based on something happening, okay, whether or not they have completed a customer intake form, whichever. If they've just advanced to the point from prospect to customer, you can implement all of these different activities in a series with the click of one button. Okay, Eric, I promised I would show you that last time, so included in this demo. Okay, now the opportunities is basically, and I'm a heavy duty because I actually run our sales team. I'm a heavy duty user of opportunities. I know you guys are looking into it, using this as part of your operations, but it's kind of nice to be able to create a pipeline and immediately have visibility here where you can see things in list view, get the KPIs that you're looking for across the board. And before I go any further, I don't know how much you guys have used opportunities, if at all, but imagine if someone handed you a business card and said, this person's looking for a CFP, okay? You enter in the contact, but instead of just scheduling a phone call, which gets lost amongst all the other phone calls, you create an opportunity to do business. Okay, that's where the name came from. And you say, okay, this guy, I don't know what he's worth, whichever, but I'm going to enter this in as an opportunity to connect and engage. And that will then become my pipeline, and I will kind of plan my attack accordingly. Okay, and by putting in, certain values here, let's go into this one. Okay. Okay, I can define what the value of the opportunity is, when I expect it to close, okay, which in your case would obviously be, some kind of customer engagement or commitment. Okay, you can set what stage that that is at, whether it's initial communication, needs assessment, presentations, whichever. Now, some of this is going to feel to people that haven't used it before like you're kind of jumping through hoops. Like, okay, is this what we got to do now? The reason that you do this is because you can then look at your entire book of business, okay, and get a sense of what kind of projected income you've got in the next month, quarter, year, whichever. It really provides you that sense of projected income that you couldn't otherwise build, okay, and be able to hold people accountable, hold your team accountable for the opportunities that they're creating, okay. And you can build quotes around that. I know you guys aren't big into using quotes in the traditional sense, but it really allows you to view your entire pipeline, okay, in ways that you can't just decipher from a bunch of scheduled calls. So you can click over here, and obviously there isn't much of a pipeline to review here, but if I go over to my list view, okay, I can view all that. Remember at the welcome screen, I went in here, and one of the first things I saw is a graphical representation of my tasks, okay, and here's my pipeline, okay. So I've got initial communication, $1,500 in initial communication, 1,300 in negotiations, 474, blah, blah, blah. And I can click into any one of these things and drill down to get an analysis of what exists in each one of these stages.
So can this welcome screen be customized for different, say, like positions or different individuals in the organization?
You can customize any kind of charts, okay, because you've also got the insights here, which allows you to have all kinds of different charts and graphs that can be exclusive to different users. Okay, so you can build them however it makes sense to you.
Right. And so, like, for example, like I'm doing work mostly on the back end. I would still need access to all the client information, but I'll never really have a pipeline.
Right.
Whereas some of the portfolio managers, a pipeline would be like potentially a useful thing to look at every day. And so, like, can they have one welcome screen and I can have a different one?
Absolutely. Each one of the welcome screens are customizable to the login user.
Well, and then along those lines, like, because we're talking a bit about like push notifications, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so can I set up push notifications for other users in my organization? Like, is that a possibility?
If you're talking about push notifications in terms of things like activity series,
right.
you can schedule and set the record manager for any one of them and edit them on the fly.
Cool.
Okay. Okay, so we talked about pipelines. We're showing the history list, or not the history list, the Act Insights. Did you want me to cover marketing automation? Okay, I didn't know how much you guys were into that. One of the things that I did want to demonstrate, okay, is that we have an entire series of API add-ons that work really, really well, okay, with Act. So in this case, what the heck? Okay, in this case, you can fill this out, fill in the screen, create a different, let's say you put this on your website, okay, select what the customer is interested in, put this in, and then they are automatically added to your website or to your database. And more importantly, they are added to a particular group that you create with this form, and they have an immediate scheduled follow-up with you. So Eric, if you created a form, okay, that was on your website, whether it's a contact us or how can we help you, whichever, these people would automatically be added to the database. If they use an email that's recognized, then it would be appended to an existing contact, and then you can have someone on your team scheduled automatically to have a follow-up with that contact. Okay. The one thing you've used a lot is our link to calendar. Okay. So you basically put this in your signature, and it's just a little link, and they click on it, and what this will do is read your calendar availability. It's not going to say what you're doing, it's just going to show you when you're available, and then you click on it. Okay, I think I've had this open too long. Okay, needs to retrieve. Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's say I clicked on this. Oh, I might have to log back out and log back in on this. Okay, so if we click on this, and this is my demo one, so I may have to make sure I've got all the settings properly. But if you click on this, this will allow them to schedule a time with you, okay? And it will then automatically be added to your calendar, and both of you guys would then be emailed, and the person booking the appointment can then get an ICS file that they can add to their Outlook, okay? And in my workings with Eric, this is something that I think you'll agree, Eric, really expedited how quickly we were able to engage. Eric contacted me, I believe, on a Wednesday morning, and we did a demo Wednesday afternoon. Okay, that's not always available. And what we what we often tell people is with Link to Calendar, it really shortens the sales cycle because you can constantly be engaging with customers as quickly as possible based on your mutual availability. Okay, so these are some of the things. I don't know if you guys work with, let's go to Lunch and Learns. Do you guys do Lunch and Learns at all?
We do not know.
Okay. If you did, I was going to show you a link to events where you can actually post a sign up page for a particular activity that you're hosting. People can sign up for that, and if they're in their database, it will schedule that meeting with them. Okay, or they will add them to your database. A really powerful lead generation utility. I already showed you the forms with link to forms. I showed you link to calendars. Okay, link to lists. Not going to get into that, Eric, because you don't seem that keen on the marketing side. But if you were going to market, then you'd want to do this just to make sure that your list is valid, because nothing is worse than running a marketing campaign, getting a lot of bounces, and compromising your sender reputation. Okay. I don't get a sense that you guys use quotes at all.
No.
No, so I planned on bypassing that. Okay. And then getting back to here. Okay. And then we've got, basically the reporting that I showed you here. Okay. So, I wanted to take about an hour. I didn't want to overextend my welcome here, but we've been about an hour. So just let me know what questions you have so I can let you guys get back to your day.
Yeah, I got a bunch. Oh, go ahead, Julian.
No, go ahead, please.
So the first question I have, just around general security.
Mm-hmm.
Does ACT have a Canadian arm? Does it have its own company in Canada, or would we be associated with the US company? And then where are the servers located? Do we have Canadian servers?
Okay, so I'm actually, remember I told you that this particular service, which is currently called ACT CRM Classic, okay, is currently on, it's going to be repackaged as ACT Premium Cloud on June 15th. I was literally in a meeting with the ACT Vice President on Monday, emphasizing the importance of having Canadian domiciled servers, okay, which are absolutely key. Okay, in the interim, we can replicate all of this in a hosted environment because we have a lot of servers that are hosted in Toronto, including on Consumers Road. Okay, so if they weren't able to get the AWS servers set up in time, then we can certainly provision you on an interim basis until they did. But I've been pushing them about as hard as I can. I'm their biggest reseller in the world. Every now and then they listen to me. But I can tell you this is very important. I have I have a demo tomorrow with the city of Caledon. I have a demo next week with the city of Ottawa, city of Mississauga, city of Brampton. All of these public sectors have the same, Canadian domiciled requirements as anyone in your industry. So even if I'm not able to demonstrate to provision you on the Act Premium Cloud, the new package that's coming out on June 15th, we can certainly get you on domiciled servers in the interim. And we have, in case this seems like an interim thing, like, why should we be second-class citizens? I have about 2,600 Canadian customers right now hosted on our servers. So this is a fully functioning thing that's been popular for years.
Beautiful. I'm just gonna rhyme up a bunch of random questions if it's okay. Do you offer training for programming? What I mean is not necessarily for me to go in and develop my own application, but just to make sure that someone on our team understands all the ins and outs of how to customize
Yes.
their experience, basically.
Yeah, we have a VIP diamond packages that are very popular, so that you can use a portion of those, of the time included with that, for training, or you can use a portion of those for level 3 service, even development, scripting, whichever.
Perfect. And then did we talk about shared documents? Are we able to throw documents into client profiles?
Yep, I covered that during the initial contact overview.
Okay. Yeah.
Remember the documents tab where you can add in as many documents as you like.
I thought so.
And is that just
you can also store documents under the history tab, by the way, so that you can associate a particular document with a time in history. If, let's say, it's a contract, that might be important, so that there was some time relevance to it.
Okay. And do you just upload that, or you just drag and drop, or is it pretty straightforward?
It's pretty much like add, and it allows you to local access to your drive.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
And then exporting files as well, is similarly easy.
Oh yeah, you see this little button here?
Yeah.
Export to Excel.
Perfect.
You click on that, it comes up. There's your Excel file.
Perfect.
I could make it look tougher, but that's about as tough as it is.
Good. I think that's all my questions. If anyone else had any questions.
I guess it's about the adoption rate, right? You put this on everybody's computer, I assume, or maybe you essentially.
Well, there's nothing to put on their computer, right? Because this is all SaaS. This is all, they can access it from whatever desktop they want, and the licensing is controlled based on the users. So whoever has login access, they can access it from whatever platform they use, even Mac users. And I like to make a joke about Mac users as much as anyone.
Yeah. So
this is when I find out the CEO is a Mac user, and you're going to call in Salesforce next.
No, don't worry, don't use Mac.
Okay.
But no, I guess I'm just trying to think about how do you roll it out to your new clients, customers? Do you roll it out to the entire company? Do you roll it out in phases where the people who are probably going to be most, those who are going to take it up the most, you start it with them, you get them kind of comfortable with it, you work through some of the twinks that need to kind of happen, and then you roll it out to the next group and the next group, or do you roll it out as a whole thing and then kind of just wait for the flurry of questions and everything else that goes along with that?
That's an extremely good question, and we actually have a process and a recommendation around that. We don't control it out in waves of users. We control it out in terms of waves of complexity. So if, let's say, you have 10 users that are set up that you're going to incorporate into this, we would deploy them all, but the focus would be initially on the contact list and the calendar. Okay, we wouldn't bring in any add-ons. We wouldn't bring anything out in the first initial stage, because we would want them to be comfortable, especially with new to CRM users. We would want them to be comfortable with the contact layout, adding new contacts, calendars use, things like that. And then what we would do is we would phase in the additional stages, whether or not it was opportunities, document management, using add-ons, things like that. So it wouldn't be based on users. It would be based on on phases. And sometimes projects will involve, significant customization. And what we would do is phase those in as well as part of a complexity rollout.
Right. And for like small businesses like ourselves, where we have 18 people in total,
Mhm.
I guess, is there a lot of customization that goes into this, or you just essentially kind of take it pretty much off the shelf?
It's kind of like saying how long's a piece of string. I mean, some people really can work with the off the rack version. Okay, other people go nuts. They want, a 400 contact fields. They want multiple custom tables. It really depends. Sometimes, and this is why I answered your earlier question the way that I did. I would never say let's go 0 to 60 in 1 week, because people would just be overwhelmed with the data and the adoption rate would drop significantly. So if
Right.
we roll out, here are the contacts, here's the calendars, here's your task list. If you can't glom onto this and kind of wrap your arms around it, why are you working here? Okay, but then next you can say, let's develop the activity series, let's develop the customization, and also let's see initially where the constraints are. You may find that a lot of even layman users may say, wouldn't it be nice if I had this field? And then you could populate drop downs based on that. Okay, and you kind of meet and agree on how to customize it accordingly.
Right, gotcha. And so, what is the significant difference? I mean, I've never used Salesforce, but
Mhm.
what is the significant difference between you guys and your competitors? Salesforce being one of them. What's the
Well, there's
what's
about
the
400. There's about 400 competitors, and I'll tell you my standard answer. Like if you stack a feature, if you did a feature comparison between Act and something like Salesforce, you would expect Salesforce to come out ahead. Okay, just because they charge 3 times as much. However, the same answer that I gave to Chris when he asked a similar type question is, I ask people what they need the program to do. Okay, and that's just part of the intake process. What is it you need it to do? If Act can't do any of those things, I'm going to say you need another product. You'll hear it from me first. If it can do it, I'll explain it to you, and why would you need all of those other features that you'll never use and end up enjoying paying for them as well.
right?
Okay,
So
so
essentially, you pay for what you need rather than pay for everything and never
exactly.
use half of it. Right.
Yeah, and if you're not going to use all these extra features, the fact that Salesforce or other programs have them should be of little consequence, certainly not enough to pay for. The other thing that, and you said this yourself, how can we strip down this program to make it easier for our new users to adopt to? Well, programs like Salesforce aren't particularly famous for that. They tend to, overwhelm you with so many different features that a lot of people get very, very confused. And that tends to impact their adoption rate.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
I mean,
Okay.
Act's been
That's all.
around for
That's all I have right
35
now.
years. It's very, very user centric, and it's evolved based on customer demand. I eat my own dog food, so I use Act all day, every single day. So it's certainly something that we use, and if we find that it's constraining our efficiency in any way, we either tell Act to build a feature or we build it ourselves.
Right.
And we're at the point where we just are not constrained in any way. I've got 30 some odd employees all over the world, and this works for us all day.
Great. Thank you very much. This has been very very helpful. Appreciate
My
your time.
excellent. Well, I appreciate yours as well.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ken.
Excellent. Thanks for all of your time, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Ken. Take care.